Okay, if you have watched the other two theory demos about intervals, then you're starting to understand that there are different qualities of intervals. We have major, minor, perfect, augmented, and diminished intervals. So the best way, you're going to need to now be able to look at an interval in your music and know which quality it is. And the best way to do this is to know the intervals that make up a major scale. So I've written a C major scale. I've written an interval for each note of the scale, starting with our first, or what we call prime, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and octave. In any major scale, if you include the notes of the major scale with the sharps and the flats of the key signature, the prime will always be what we call perfect. So P is perfect prime. The second interval, the interval of a second will be major, as well as the third. The fourth and the fifth will be perfect intervals. And if you watched the previous video, you'll remember that perfect intervals cannot be major or minor. They are just perfect. And if we shrink a perfect interval by a half step, it becomes diminished. And if we enlarge a perfect interval by a half step, it becomes augmented. We skip the major and minor step with the perfect intervals. Then we have a major sixth, a major seventh, and a perfect octave. So it makes sense that if I'm writing the notes of a major scale, that most of the intervals are major. Let's also do this for another key. So let's say you were writing the notes of a D major scale. There's our perfect prime, D to E, F, G, fifth, sixth, seventh, and octave. Now, here it's important, if you are creating the intervals of the major scale, you have to include the key signature. You have to include the sharps or flats that would be in that key signature. So you have to know your key signatures. You have to know that in the key of D major, we have two sharps. They are F sharp and C sharp. So I need to include those sharps wherever they fall in the scale. Now I have a perfect prime, a major second. Notice that my major third is spelled D to F sharp. All right? Perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth. My major seventh is spelled D to C sharp, and my perfect octave. Knowing that these intervals are major, then we can start to understand what might make a minor interval. My major third, if I have D to F sharp, is major. If I were to leave this sharp out, and in my music I found a D to F interval, I would know that that was now a minor third instead of a major third, because I understand key signatures. So now you understand, and you just need to memorize the intervals that make up a major scale, or the intervals within a major scale. Well, our possibilities are perfect and major.